listening to the Sportz Nutz.
Hey, welcome to the Sportz Nutz, everybody. Yes, this is episode kind of like, you know what? I'm going to go ahead and just say it's episode 147. We hope you guys had an absolute fantastic weekend. I know I had a good weekend getting to spend time with my girls. Got to spend time with a friend of mine, Brian Pettit. You know, as Brian is a special contributor for our show, the Sportz Nutz. Just a quick reminder, let everybody know we are on TigerNation.live or 95.5 KFCE based in Terrell, Texas. And if you would like to, follow us on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, iHeartRadio. We are on Podbean and Amazon as well. And also, we're on YouTube, Twitch, Twitter, Instagram, TikTok, Facebook, and a whole lot more. We're literally all over the place. We cannot wait to have tonight's episode air for you guys. Before we go into our guest, though, Shane, man, how are you doing?
I'm doing well. It's starting to get a little chilly up here, so enjoying that part of it. It's officially hoodie weather, I guess you could say, and the shorts are probably going to get put up here in the next week or two for sure. But man, it's been good, man. Nice, relaxing week. Getting geared up for a big weekend. I got a few buddies coming in town, and going to take on the Bristol Night Race this weekend. So it's going to be a great time. And I can't tell you how excited I am to get into the show tonight, though, for sure, because I think we got some good conversation and content that we're going to bring everybody out there, and ready for everybody to join, including Matt.
I know Matt, ladies and gentlemen, just shows up. Better late than never, right?
Hey, man. As long as you make it, you make it.
Matt, how was your weekend, man?
Good, productive, man. Good, productive. What's up, fellas? Missed you guys.
Oh yeah. Hey, man, that L looks good on you.
You said what?
The L looks good on you.
You know what? Didn't you guys get walloped too? Hey, Matt, real quick, I'm gonna let you know. I think Young Wei Koo gonna get released today, if not tomorrow.
I think they'll give him one more week to redeem himself, man. He's too good of a kicker, man, and he's won them too many games. But we know NFL, not for long.
Not for long. That is right. Guys, just to let everybody know, we have Mr. Invincible himself. Yes, Vince Papale is gracing our show tonight. For those who don't know who he is, he actually has a movie about him. Mark Wahlberg played Vince Papale. 2006 movie entitled Invincible. We have him on, and of course, after he leaves, we have a little bit more stuff we want to talk about. Karen, what in the world? Karen, and a poor kid with a baseball. We'll talk about that one. I want to hear you guys' thoughts on Ryan Clark. He is continuously making the headlines for the wrong reasons. We'll talk a little bit about that one. And then Ryan Howard, yes, she set another record in the WNBA. She actually tied a record in the WNBA for the Atlanta Dream. It's her second time this year that she had 9 3-pointers in one game. We'll talk a little bit more about the Atlanta Dream. Shane's got a little banter he wants to create with me with regards to the WNBA. Shane does have a sports story. Matt has a sports story. We have our ever favorite segment of the honorable mentions. We can't wait for that one. Real quick, want to let you guys know about the upcoming episodes, and then we'll bring our guest on. Tomorrow we do have Money Lines episode 3. Now remember, there will be no episode this Friday because it is mine and Cassie's 10-year wedding anniversary. I love she is the love of my life. I am so blessed to have the woman of my dreams be my partner. This will be our 11th year together, 10 years married, and we have 4 beautiful girls. Then next Tuesday, the 16th, we have Wisconsin Whitewater, the football program. Yes, the head football coach is going to join us to talk about what is it like being a perennial powerhouse in Division III, and if Wisconsin Whitewater plans on making that jump up even all the way up to the FBS level in the near future. Then we have Wednesday the 17th, we do have Money Lines episode 4. Friday the 19th, we have the Morehead City Marlins Collegiate Summer Baseball League coming on. The 23rd, we had the Augusta Pro Hockey Team on, minus Tim Tebow. He will be actually coming on in mid-October, from what it sounds like. So that will be a very big episode to have with Tim Tebow coming on.
So you're not going to be here this Friday, Brandon?
No.
I thought me and Shane were the love of your life. What's going on?
You are my love of my life. What are you talking about?
You're going to choose your wife of 10 plus years over us?
Yeah.
How dare you, man? How dare you?
Well, you haven't given me my child support yet, sir.
No, man. Shout out to Cassie, man. Thank God for Cassie. Let me just say that. This guy here.
Cassie stayed
putting up with him.
Yeah, she's put up with my mess for 11 years, and she is the best of the best.
No. She didn't put up with your mess. She put up with your crap for the last 10 years.
I was trying to be polite, but
I understand.
And then, real quick, also the 24th, we have episode 5 of Money Lines. Then Friday, we still have our big episode, but then Tuesday, September the 30th, we have the Kentucky Barrels Arena football team joining the show. Cannot wait. With that being said, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, everybody, if you can, let's stand up and let's welcome the man himself, Mr. Invincible, Vince Papale, man. Oh my God, I'm elated to finally get to talk to you. Of course, you know we've talked on the phone, but Vince, how are you doing, sir?
I'm hanging in there, man. I'll tell you what, though, this is pretty cool. 10 years, Dan, boy, y'all catch your coverage. That's what they're saying out there in the field. And Shane, we got to, I'm down in Jupiter, Florida right now, and we got a little bit of a cold front came through last night. The temperature dipped into the 80s. So, yeah.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, a little bit different than the mountains of North Carolina.
Yeah. Hey, Brandon, it's great to be with you, man, and the team. Thank you, Matt, and thank you very much, Shane. It's cool to be here. I got all kinds of stuff. Welcome to my garage, my air-conditioned garage in Jupiter, Florida. You should see what's on the other side of the camera.
Oh, boy.
Actually, there's a Honda there that was given to me by Mark Wahlberg. Yeah, this guy. I don't know anybody. This is one of my favorite movies. So anybody
I bet it is.
Players, there it is. Yeah, right there, baby.
So, Vince, when I want to go right into it, when you went to try out for the Eagles, what was going through your mind the moment they offered you that contract? Like, what was your reaction when they said, we're signing you to the Eagles?
Well, first of all, God bless Jimmy Murray. He's the guy that signed me to my $21,000 contract right after the tryout was over. So the movie was a little bit different. I got a chance to get back into the Eagles locker room, and the trainer, Otho Davis, who is known to be a big practical joker, said they want to see you up there in the executive offices. And I go up onto the 4th floor in the elevator, and he offered me $21,000. I had 2 season tickets, I had for 10 years. And I said, do I have to give up my season tickets? He's like, I hang on to them. I said, you mean I'm not automatically on the team? He said, well, we're bringing 120 guys to camp and 15 wide receivers. It'll be interesting, competition. But hey, man, it was a great opportunity. I was ready for it. Everybody kept telling me, well, you can't do it. You didn't play college football. You're 30 years old. It's never been done before, blah, 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 blah. And I don't know about any of you guys out there, but anytime somebody says to me that I can't do something, there's a little expression in Italian that I'm not going to go, and it's an expression that you can use with your hands. But hey, so that's I got the shot, and and he told me that he was going to give me. He liked what he saw. And I guess because I was knocking guys around, I was doing things that most wide receivers back then in the 70s didn't do. I hit people, and he liked it. If you had a different color jersey, forget about it, because I went after it. So that's why in the movie, when you saw the movie, I wasn't all that popular amongst a lot of defensive backs, because I kept clocking them. I didn't run past whatever it was. I had to make a statement, so to speak, so they can look at it on the film that night when in the coaches' meetings. So it was quite an experience. But training camp was only 8 miles from where I grew up. So, every time I caught a pass or anything, my student body was there that I was teaching at 6 years at my alma mater, Interboro. My dad was there with all his buddies from Westinghouse because they were right off the Delaware River. And right on the way home, he would be there. And then all the guys that I played in the rough touch leagues and the semi-pro leagues, they were there. They were half toasted up there with the coolers. And, there was, every time I caught the pass, I caught a ball, there'd be a big reaction. And it caught the coach's attention. And what I would do is I would just sprint back to the line of scrimmage and beg to just get another opportunity, with guys in line with the 15, 14 receivers we had. It was quite an experience, man. I'll tell you what. It was. So I went from 198 to 183. Every practice was about 2.5, 3 hours, full pads, full contact. Wow. I mean, these guys now, that's like Jesus Christ, pardon my French, but man, full pads, 2.5 pounds, 2.5, 3 hours. And then you had the meetings at night. But man, when you go to the campus casino and have that beer after the meetings, you had like 45 minutes of freedom, check at 11 o'clock. And then it all started at 7 in the next morning with the fire alarms. They would have the fire alarms go off in the dormitories where we were staying at Widener College. What an experience. I just was doing some autographs of stuff that people have sent in. And somebody said, what was it like the first time you walked out on the field? And it was insane. It was just like, I couldn't believe I was there. And, I think that probably helped me, because I didn't really put a lot of pressure on myself. I just figured, hey, just show them what you got. And, the best are best. And I caught the eye of Coach Vermeil and a couple of other people. And here we are. It's the rest is history. And they got a freaking movie. That's even worse. Yeah.
When you talk about like, the players nowadays, they're kind of a little too soft in the way we used to play. I played, and I remember doing back then we had 3-a-days where it was you had to do your weightlifting early in the morning,
right?
And then you go and do your whatever, like your film study or whatever, and then you go out there and the first thing you do is don the pads and you clocked each other for 2.5 hours, and then you go and you have your lunch, and if you need to do film study or ice bath or whatever you did, and then you came back and you were there from like 5 o'clock in the afternoon to 8 o'clock at night. So I remember doing those days, and you're right. Like the players nowadays, man, they don't know what it was like back in the day. And people also don't remember there is this little title that went around. It's called the Junction Boys, and Bear Bryant was the one that introduced the Junction style of play in Junction, Texas. So, I commend you for giving it all because, you really you had to make an impact. What made you stand out more than anybody else? And Vince, I agree,
First of all, the practices that we had, we were doing a double session. So you had the morning practice at 9, and then you lifted right after that. And then you got a chance after lunch to go and catch maybe an hour nap. But back then there was no air conditioning, right? So and I was with a guy, Denny Franks. I mean, this guy, he snored, but for crying out loud, you'd have thought that there was an earthquake going on, And then we went. Our afternoon practice was 3 to 5:30, and then afterwards we had dinner and and meetings went to 10, and then you had that hour off. But just going there, I think what it was I just hustled. And, Roman Gabriel and I trained in the off season. After I signed that contract, after the free agent tryout, I had one of the greatest quarterbacks in the NFL at that time working with me one-on-one and showing me how to run routes, how to do this, how to do that. And when we got to training camp, we're doing the 7-on-7s or 1-on-1s, whatever it was. The timing that I had with him was impeccable. And he was always looking for me in the 7-on-7. And we had 12, 13 guys, as wide receivers, and they were all out of shape. They're breathing and their hands are on their knees. So I'd come up, I says, hey man, you mind if I jump in line? No, man, go ahead. I got to catch my breath. They had no idea that night in film study, they're seeing me about 8 or 10, 12 times, and most of the time I was catching the pass, and these guys they weren't showing up. But here's what it was. I had that first preseason game. Oh, by the way, we played 14 game season, and training camp was 8 weeks, and we had 6 preseason games, and everybody 6 preseason games. Everybody played, and that first preseason game was against the San Diego Chargers, and I was supposed to play in the second half, and then the second half in the third quarter, and then it's the fourth quarter. And, it's like, and I'm standing next to Vermeil. I'm standing next to my wide receivers coach, Jim Corey, and Nick Corey. And then it's a 2-minute warning. Oh, Papale, 83, go on in. And what I did is I made 2 sight adjustments and read the defense. God gave me this great gift, and that was the ability to come off the line of scrimmage and in 2 or 3 strides, be able to figure out what the defense was. And right now they call it situational awareness. But I had it, and it's something my son Vinny has, and I was given that gift, and I made 2 first downs on situational awareness, sight audibles, sight adjustments, and that got me to the next week. And the next week was against New England, and I got a chance to play some special teams, and I got a chance to show what I had, and I had 4 or 5 catches and a touchdown, and that got me to the next week, and then the next week to the next week. And it was just like week to week to week. But as it went, the coach was a little bit more, he knew he was looking for that 5th wide receiver that was going to be a special teams guy as gunner. And I was the guy, so they didn't, every time they put me in, and, I'll be on the X or the Z, I'll be on the left or right. The defense would just shift to the other side because they knew I wasn't going to get the ball, Who cared, man? I was making $21,000 freaking dollars a year playing in the NFL, And what the crazy thing was, guys, playing against the guys that I respected and I loved so much or hated so much when I'm watching them on TV, and I'm a season ticket holder for 10 years. And then I'm going head to head with them out on the field. I couldn't. One time I just said, I can't believe I'm out here on the same field with you, So it was pretty cool, I was just as raw as could be, but I think that really helped me. And, and I just worked my ass off, It's like anything. See that USA behind me. In the movie, they have that my love interest of 32 years. I outkicked my coverage. Janet was on the USA team back in the day with Kathy Rigby and the Munich games, and Black September and all that. She was part of that whole action, and, she coached at Penn. So they messed around a little bit with her in the movie and made her a Giants fan, but she's USA all the way. And then you see my son's jersey. He played on the USA high school team. So I got stuff all over the garage here. So we play to do stuff.
Absolutely. Shane, go ahead.
Oh, yeah. Well, I'd like to take a moment, kind of focusing on a little bit of your time with the Eagles, not just kind of the tryout and the preseason deal, but, kind of what was it like to kind of instill that winning culture, bringing Dick Vermeil in and you being such a big fan favorite out there, what was the process like gaining that respect of the teammates, like you said, didn't too much like the hard-nosed Charlie Hustle in you. When it kind of first started, but then eventually you were named special teams captain and named Eagles Man of the Year in 1978 as well.
Yeah, that was pretty cool. Coach Vermeil came in, and he said that people used to cheer him because he beat the spread. It wasn't a matter of him winning or losing. They figured right from the beginning, he was going to lose some games. He had no draft picks. Bill Berge, we swiped him from Cincinnati. They gave up 4 first-rounders, and Coach only had a couple second, third-rounders in the first couple of years of that. So, and from my attitude and from what I was doing, it was just all the hustle and just make every play I could possibly make. But it was so cool to be a season ticket holder and to be out there on the field and be a fan favorite. And, for crying out loud, 20 years ago, I get approached by Walt Disney and they make this movie. I mean, Mark Wahlberg. We were just, Pat McAfee just the other day, did this whole feature on me, regarding the Eagles and the Cowboys game. I mean, where's this coming from? I'm like 20 years out of this thing, but it's still there, and we call it, you're playing the card, man. I play the Invincible every chance I get right now. So, but they call us legends now, so we're not alumni. So it's all good.
Hey, real quick, we have a guest, a fan asked, how good of a job did Disney and Mark Wahlberg do in portraying your story? It's where I first learned about your amazing story.
Well, they did a great job. I mean, and the two guys, and Mark Giardi and Gordon Gray, and Ken Mock, who took the risk. He's the one that paid the money and got the spec script written. But then I was working with our screenwriter, and I spent a lot of time. But we didn't have Google back then. We didn't have Zoom. Everything was done over the phone, or I shipped him all my scrapbooks and did this and that. And they picked it up in a part of my life where I was given a leave of absence from my teaching job. In reality, I wasn't a part-time bartender and substitute teacher. I was a guy that was a 6-year teacher at his alma mater, the head track coach, assistant football coach, working my master's degree and trying to qualify for the Olympic trials in the decathlon. And I came close, but I didn't quite make it because of whatever reason. And I got pissed off. And oh, by the way, I was playing in those rough touch leagues the whole time. And all the time, the guys, and I'm running a 9.7, 9.800 yard dash, and all these guys are telling me, they're sort of challenging my manhood. And then finally, when my track dream didn't come true, I started playing in semi-pro football, and then somebody saw me, and that led to the Eagles. But I wish they'd have gone back a few years to when I was a school teacher, because my mother, who was a great athlete, a potential Olympic athlete back before World War II, and my dad, they never got beyond the 8th grade because of the war and because of the Great Depression. But my mother was a phenomenal athlete, and she actually played in a baseball league, like a league of their own. But as I grew up, I saw her being taken out of our house in a straitjacket, and she wound up institutionalized. So I'm going through puberty and, going through junior high school and high school. My mom's in and out of the mental hospital. And it wasn't pretty at home. My dad working at Westinghouse, and they were on strike every other day. And it wasn't easy, and it was the teachers and coaches that sort of pulled me together, and kept me together. And I really wish that they would have put that piece in, because I think, especially right now, it'd be a great story for a lot of kids that think they have it rough at home, and I grew up in a housing project. My bedroom was about the size of a closet. But, it's what it was. And that's probably what toughened me up and gave me that I don't really give a damn attitude. I can do this because of what I had to grow up with and because of coaches and teachers. That's actually why I wound up coaching and teaching in my alma mater. I was ready when I came out of college at St. Joe's. I was on a track scholarship, and Vietnam was hot and heavy. I was about ready to enlist in the Marines or the Air Force. And then I got the call from my high school, and they said there was a teaching and coaching job available. So I took a run at it, and there it was. And, here I am now talking to you guys, and
Matt,
friends with Marnie Toast.
Absolutely. Matt, go ahead.
Yeah, Vince. As a 30-year-old rookie, tell us, how did the established NFL players treat you when you first made the team?
Matt, that's a good question. I don't get that one asked often. They treated me like my teammates did on the other side of the field, with disrespect. And, but all I had to do was lay a block on them every once in a while. Back then, if I had to play under today's rules, I couldn't play. I just because I loved blocking. I loved hitting guys below the waist. So I loved coming in on a crackback and coming from the X and just nailing a guy right in his solar plexus, with my helmet. But you can't do that stuff anymore. You can't. The way I played, I was always playing very physical. So I wasn't really given a lot of gratitude from the players that I was playing against. And again, though, Matt, I'm playing against guys that were my idols, for crying out loud. And I had to get over that. That was a big thing for me to get over, or to be in some of the greatest stadiums back then. And this is before the Dome, the Astrodome was just coming out, and some of the greatest historic stadiums ever. And one was, just to be out there out in the Coliseum or out there in Chicago, in Soldier Field. But they didn't give me a lot of respect. So, but I earned my respect. And my rookie year, I led the league in touchdown. I mean, not touchdowns. I led the league in initial hits and forced fumbles. I forced 13 fumbles in a 15-game season. So I did okay. And the next
year, right?
Yeah, the next year, my boys they voted me captain of the special teams, which was one of the biggest honors I could ever possibly imagine. To be an NFL captain. I mean, are you kidding me? From going from the stands, and then to have a guy like Mark Wahlberg or Walt Disney invest all that money and do that movie, it's pretty crazy.
We did see the Eagles. They did take care of the Cowboys to start the campaign. However, though, it was marked with controversy with the Dak Carter Spitgate, as Matt liked to alluded to it, along with several other questionable calls. What was your impressions, though, for opening night for the Eagles and the Cowboys?
Well, first of all, thank God for C.D. Lamb. Yeah, I've never seen the guy drop a ball before. To be quite honest with you, I had to get up the next morning at 4:00 to catch a flight into Philadelphia to do an autograph signing. So once that storm came up in Philadelphia, and I'm down here in Florida, boom! I didn't even see the end of the game. I had to check the internet to see the end of the game. But what I saw a Jalen Hurts that I've never seen before, and he was very, very positive, and he was very interactive, and I was really impressed with him. And I was impressed actually with A.J. Brown, because he doesn't like not getting the ball. He's like CD, and might on the sideline, whatever happened with the spitting, that happened. That you just can't do stuff like that, and it's he said, she said kind of a thing. You just can't do stuff like that, especially knowing that you got 1,000 cameras that are going to be on you, because it's Dak Prescott. But, I was pretty impressed with what I saw. And, we might need a little bit of help in the secondary. But, hey, see what it is. And Howie made another move today, and he brought a defensive player in. So we'll see. But you got to have faith, man. And now we have the Chiefs coming up this weekend. And the Chiefs did not look like the Kansas City Chiefs that we know are the Kansas City Chiefs this past weekend. So that'll be an interesting game to see what's going on.
Absolutely. Shane, go ahead.
Oh yeah, well, as you alluded to, kind of the movie, we all know your story now because of this movie. It's become a worldwide. It's kind of, I consider it one of the better sports movies of my lifetime for sure. But I want to know kind of how historically correct they were, when it came down to getting pushed into going ahead and playing the semi-pro and getting that call and that tryout with the Eagles. Was it just kind of a mentor or something that nudged you along the way, gave you some memorable words to go by, or was it truly kind of what they did in the movie, kind of just a simple bet kind of thing?
Well, now it was a little bit different than that, and actually they didn't contact me. I was given Jimmy Murray, the general manager. I brought an agent on, and because he was with another team I was associated with. I did play. They didn't say that I played in the World Football League with the Philadelphia Bell, and that's the league that Jim Kick, Zonka and Warfield left Miami from. And went over to that league. I played in that league, and I was doing pretty good actually. And so I caught the eye of Jim Murray, and I was on the list, but Coach Ramil didn't know who I was, and so I had to make my mark, And then once afterwards, and then they told me, and they send me up, and I go and I get my contract. But in the historical side. And the person that had the most influence in my life, aside from my parents, and of course my father, who was a tough guy. He was a pig farmer. My grandfather came over on a boat, and he was a pig farmer in suburban Philadelphia. but it were the school teachers. And there was my high school, my first male coach and my phys ed teacher from junior high school. And then he became the head coach for football. And when I was told that I was too small as a 145, 150 pounder to play football, and he asked me, well, how come you're not coming out for football? I said, I was told by the other coaches that I was too small. And he says, no, I want you to come out. And so he gave me that shot, and he actually found out, with my speed and I was catching everything, he changed the whole offense around. So we got into more than a running. We got into more of a passing offense. But then again, he was my track coach. And when I came back and I taught, he gave the track coaching job basically to me. And then when I left after 6 years of that, and I'm working on my master's and playing in the semi-pro leagues and all that crap, I go to him because everybody, there's, hey, there's that training camp, or there's that tryout camp with the Eagles. Are you going to give it a shot? And I wanted to, but, I almost succumbed to the negativity, that you can or you can't do it. And then I go to my coach and I said, what do you think? He said, Vinny, what do you got to lose, man? And I was told by my school that if I didn't make it, get this football crap out of your system. You have a job next year. And so I had nothing to lose there. But he gave me this really great quote. And I go out and I speak all the time. And I leave basically with this: happy are those who dream dreams and are willing to pay the price to make the dream come true. And with Coach Corner, he said, well, Vinny, he says, you ready to pay the price? I said, I've already paid the price, man. Let's go. And so I took the shot, and, I ran that 40. I ran a 4.445, and a 4.445 and a 4.445 and a 4.45 in that 40. And that's what got me to the next drill. And I asked Coach, what did you see first? He said, I saw your speed. He said, I was looking for that fifth receiver that I could put in special teams. And then he wanted to see how tough I was. So I guess I passed the auditions.
I love it. Matt, go ahead.
Yes. So tell us, Connor, what was the biggest moment of doubt that you faced during your career, and how did you push through it?
The biggest, that's another great question, Matt. Where are you pulling all these from?
Hey, man. Come on. Yeah.
The biggest in doubt was when it's the season tickets. Preseason's over, right? And we have 6 receivers, and I know he's keeping 5. And I go into the locker room, and there's my name. My name spelled correctly in the movie. It was spelled incorrectly, which was true. There's an 83 there, and there's all these numbers, but I still wasn't told that I had made the team. And I thought, oh, here we go, man. And then the Turk, the guy, and he was a friend of mine. I knew him from before, Bill Davis, and one of the coaches in the NFL. And he comes up and he looks at me, and I grabbed the playbook, and I just went to hand it to him, and he started laughing. And in the movie, they had to create a different scene because they called it like a Rudy moment. Hey, Rudy, what's up, my man? How you doing, buddy? So at any rate, I still never found out I made the team. And then finally, when we get down onto the field, and we're playing the Dallas Cowboys the next week, and we're in right field because we're at the Vet Stadium and it's a baseball football field, and we're in right field, and the coach walks up to me, and I figured right at that point he's going to cut me, and I was going to say, oh Jesus, and he says, hey, welcome to the team, old man. You're a Philadelphia Eagle. And I went nuts, and so I said, can I make a call? So I ran over to the baseball dugout, and they had a payphone, and I made a collect call to Westinghouse, and I got to shop steward, and this guy's right out of Central Casting. And I said, hey, Slim, I said, tell Kingy, my dad, his little boy, Vincey, is a Philadelphia Eagle. And you could hear in the background, Vince, Kingy, my dad's nickname, Kingy, he effing made it. Your dad, your son's an effing. But we couldn't use that in the movie, not because of the effing, but because it was very similar to what Rudy, when he found out that he was accepted at Notre Dame. So we called that a Rudy moment, and they created that scene where I walked into the locker room. I walked to the coach's office and put the ball there. But that was when, Matt, I had the biggest doubt. Up to that point, I led the team in touchdowns and receptions in preseason. But I got injured the final game against Minnesota. And one of their safeties says, hey, 83, you're a stud, man. He says, you belong in the NFL. I know your story. And, that felt good. But, I thought for sure I was gone. But there we go. And I got my varsity letter, as I said, and I got my pension. So it's all good.
Shane, go ahead.
Oh yeah, well, once again, Vince, man, it's been such an honor having you on for sure and talking with us this evening. But I want to kind of shift the focus off the football field. Kind of what your life's been like here lately. I know earlier this year your son Vinny got married. Congratulations to him. As you've alluded to, you kind of outkicked your coverage with your wife, Miss Janice, or Miss Janet. I'm sorry. I hope she's doing well. But you as a legend to the NFL and the game, saw last year you guys took on the NFL Tackles Obesity, which you are a board member on that. Can you tell us a little bit about that? Anything else that you may have going on that consumes your more than busy life right now?
Yeah. Thanks for saying that, Shane. I got immediately. I was speaking all over the world, and it's sort of funny. There's somewhere around here there's something Italian, and I'm a cavaliere. I was knighted by the Italian Parliament because we actually showed the movie out there. But what the great thing about the movie is that it's never gotten old. I was in Europe last year with my son because he plays on Italy's touch football team. I mean the flag football team. And I had people from other countries coming up and tell me that they had seen the movie. And then what it was like, you were talking about, tackling obesity, Shane. And, it's making the impact. I've done a lot of work with the military. My neighbor across the street is a Gold Star father. You can see this right here, and this is about the Travis Manion Foundation. I do a lot of work with that. I've gotten recently, though, with the Veterans and Relief Fund. That's a Wounded Veterans Relief Fund, and it's what they do is they fix the vets' teeth, and that's really pretty cool. So I'm doing that and doing a little speaking, and I'm heading out to Italy in the next couple of days to see my son play and be in the World Games. And my daughter Gabriella, she went to Syracuse. There's her cheerleading outfit there. She just got married. And I just celebrated my 32nd anniversary. Everybody had the over and under, for like 3 years because I've been married before. But, I lasted 32 years and I've just got the greatest life you can't possibly imagine. I went through a little bit of a health issue, cancer survivor. Just got some good news today about some other stuff, some tests that were being done. So life is good, man. And I'm going to be in Europe watching my little boy play football and whatever tomorrow brings, you got to do it. There's a buddy of mine from the University of Delaware, Vinny went to school, and he wrote this great book, and it's simply called Win the Day, man. You get through today, and then you work tomorrow, and then after tomorrow, it's a week, and then it's a month, it's a year. And that's the way we go through life right now. But life is good, and I'm still living a dream, and can't believe that they made a movie about it. And Mark Wahlberg and I are still buddies, and, with that Pat McAfee thing, he went crazy on that. That was pretty cool. So it's all good, man.
So, Vince, when you and I spoke on the phone, you did tell me about the health. That health means everything to you and your lovely family. Now, I'm a big advocate for health as well. I told you, I had a widowmaker heart attack in July of 2023. Now, my question is for you. What advice would you give others right now who may be considering their options with their health? Like maybe they're scared to death because the fear of the word unknown, the unknown possibilities of what could be. What advice would you give?
It's funny you say that. I do cameos all the time, and just recently, I guess word got out that I was a cancer survivor, and I've gotten an inordinate amount of people that said, hey, could you have a pep talk to whomever, because they just found out they had cancer, And I had been through that, and I know I helped a friend that was through that. More than anything, my attitude, my thing is, first of all, you got to have a good attitude and surround yourself with a good team. And you got to play the card, with Invincible. You get the Invincible team, and that's with your family and your friends, and also with your health care. that you've got there. But more than anything, it's about, believing in yourself and believing in those that are around you and having a good attitude about it. If you fall into and you start feeling, oh, woe is me because I've got colon cancer, which I had, I didn't even think twice about it. We went on vacation with my family in Jamaica, and I came back and I had the operation, and boom, no chemo, no radiation. So, I've been a spokesman, and I'm a spokesman for Cooper Hospital right now with colorectal cancer awareness. So, the key is, to me, and it's like what Coach Vermeil says. He said it's all about attitude, and the team that you develop and the team that you bring together to help you with that. So, but never give up. The thing is, you could just never give up.
I like that. Matt, you have the last question. Go ahead.
Yeah, Vince, that's a few words to describe this. Arrogant, mean, disrespectful, distasteful. Those are some of the things that people call Philadelphia Eagle fans.
Yeah.
Can you tell us tell us why, in your perspective, you as somebody who's played for that organization, can you tell us why or tell us how you look at it, and how you look at the Eagles fans, and how the way they acted fueled you as a player, and also tell us why we should like the Philadelphia Eagle fans.
Well, first of all, Matt, they as a player, they loved me. I was one of them, and so there were signs all over the place, and they sort of resurrected it the other night. That game against the Marlins, where that woman, took the ball away from the little boy, and it says, "Oh, here we go," the Philadelphia Eagles game. It all started back in the Franklin Field days when I actually was a season ticket holder, and I was at St. Joe's, and they were booing Santa Claus and throwing snowballs at him. Well,
wow.
The thing is the guy, he was totally blitzed, and he weighed about 122 pounds, when he was in this saggy, and he was harassing the cheerleaders, and they were throwing the snowballs not because of that, it was because he was harassing the cheerleaders. They were trying to get him back. So that started the whole thing, they booed Santa Claus. And right now, and then, people get thrown stuff out on the field. I know that happened. And, some people, but, you can't judge an individual. You can't judge a whole group because of the stupidity and the ignorance or some of the great words that you had said, Matt, of some of the fans, because they're just going to be that. To me, they're the most loyal fans in the world. I love them. The Phillies, the Flyers, the Sixers. My daughter worked with the Sixers, and the Eagles. They're loyal as heck to you, but they demand respect. They demand hard work, and they're very demanding. And if you don't do what they want you to do, you'll hear from them. And hey, you have to have a thick skin. If you have a thin skin trying to play sports in Philadelphia, forget about it. But hey, just give them everything you had. And I was one of them. So I only got booed a couple times.
Vince, I gotta say, I've been texting my wife and I've been texting friends. I'm kind of a kid at a candy store. I have the great Vince Papale from our show. And it means absolutely the world to myself, to Matt, to Shane. We are, look at that, I did it. I was 3 in a row. That's awesome. But we're beyond thankful that you came on our show. I really appreciate it, man. Can you kind of let everybody know real quick before we let you go, what is the best way to follow you?
Well, easily just go to my email, Vince at vincepapale.com or vincepapale.com, and that's it. I'm pretty easy to find. And you'll find a whole. There's right at the very top says contact Vince, and I deal with it all myself. I just went to the post office box today and still had about 80 requests for autographs. I mean, they're still coming at me, and so you can just send stuff. Just send a self-addressed stamped envelope of Vince at vincepapale.com. Or, ask anybody in town. They can get a hold of me. I'm around. So it's all good. And I see Joe Namath, it's so exciting. I see Joe Namath all the time. He lives around the corner. And, we're in this is the golf capital of the world here, Jupiter, Florida. And I'm loving it. But, still living the dream, having a great time. And it's all about the kids and it's all about the family. That's the way I look at my life. And, if there's no more Invincible, I got 3 of the most beautiful people in the world as part of my life, and I couldn't ask for anything better than that.
Amen to that one. I'm going to talk to you about trying to get Joe Namath on our show. Gosh, if that happened, I don't know how I'd react because, I would love to ask him about his guarantee that he didn't, and he backed up. Vince, I appreciate you, man, and we're going to talk again soon.
Patience, man. I appreciate it. Yeah, you hung in there with me. So, and tell Marnie, I said hi. We all love Marnie Toast, and we loved her mom and what she did in the community, and certainly her grandfather.
Yes.
Mr. Leonard Toast, our owner, he was wonderful. What an owner he was. He was really
good. And Marnie is fantastic. We love her.
She's great.
She's actually going to be going to my wife is a teacher at a dyslexic school here in South Carolina. And my wife and Marnie and the SPED coordinator are trying to work together to get her to come and read to the kids. So that's actually an awesome thing to know that she's going to read to the kids,
That's a beautiful thing.
That's right. Vince, you take care of yourself. Okay, please tell your wife we said thank you so much for letting us borrow you for this period of time. I really do appreciate it.
He couldn't wait for me to get out of the room, so it's all good. So Matt, Shane, thanks, Brandon. You guys are invincible. You're an invincible team. And Who's Nuts? I can't believe it, because I have those T-shirts. I should have wore it. Who's Nuts? That's what we got in special teams when we made a big
Hey, there you go.
T-shirt. Yeah, it's around somewhere. Oh, where it is? There it is, right there. You see it? On that shirt I just.
Oh yeah, right there. Yeah. Vince, you take care of yourself, and we'll talk soon.
We'll see you guys. Thank you. You're invincible.
Right.
Appreciate it.
Take care.
Appreciate it.
That's USA, baby. Let's go.
Thank you. Oh my God, guys! Come on, how cool was that?
Oh yeah,
we got.
that was
Mr. Invincible.
That was one of those milestone moment episodes, I guess you could say.
Yes. Yeah. So I know Vince kind of teased that a little bit. I'm going to talk about this because I want to hear you guys' thoughts on this one. Karen, y'all. Karen is back at it again. This time though, it's when a fan gets a home run baseball. Fans they have every right to fight for that ball. They absolutely do. Well, this dad took his son to a baseball game for his birthday. Home run ball lands right at him. He goes and gets it. It's kind of in between both of them. He gets it before her, and he goes and he's holding it and he shows it to his son. Gives it to his son. This kid is like a kid at a candy store because he's just got a home run ball for his birthday. And what does Karen do? Walks over. You took that from me, screaming and yelling at him. And so he says, "You know what? Here," and just gives up and gives the ball. Well, guess what, guys? This is when I go back to Matt. You just asked. You said, why should we care for Philadelphia fans?" Well, Bader saw about this, signed a baseball bat, gave it to him. The Marlins saw it also, and what did they do? They gave him a prize back. Well, the Eagles, the Phillies took it a step further and gave him tickets to a game of his choice. My question though, I'm going to start with you, Matt. Obviously, we know fighting is not tolerable anymore. When does enough mean enough with regards to the term entitlement, with regards to sports memorabilia?
Well, the sense of entitlement in just life in general is beyond me right now. It's at astronomical levels, and it's crazy. But I don't know, man. The when should enough be enough? When somebody decides to make consequences for those particular actions, man. But I mean, as long as there's no laws being broken, there will not be any consequences for those actions. So, I mean, did the lady really commit any crime here? She didn't. So she went and yelled at the guy, and the guy just wanted to keep the peace, as I'm probably going to get berated for saying this, but as most men do, we want to keep the peace. And he gave up the ball, which what we all would have done in that situation. Well, not Brandon. Brandon would be like, no. And then Brandon probably would have given it a finger. But,
you would say that. Why would you say that I would do that?
Brandon, am I lying?
No, you're not lying.
Okay. All right. Like I said, yeah, he'll probably give it a finger or something like that, man. But I don't know why.
I would yell Karen right after that too.
Yeah, man. So I don't know, man. It's just I don't know when is enough. When somebody decides to put a stop to it, man. But as long as no laws are being broken or no rules are being broken, we're gonna see it, and it's gonna be a part of sports. It's gonna be a part of everyday life.
what about you, Shane? Like, when do you think enough is enough with the word entitlement? You know, this lady thought because I am such and such, therefore I should.
That I'm with Matt. That word entitlement goes around the world a little bit too much nowadays, for sure. Especially for somebody, I guess, in my old school mentality way of thinking. But I can tell you one thing about
Look
this.
at Matt's face. My old school self.
The sense of mentality is what I said now. So, so I may not be the oldest, but I kind of got an old soul in here somewhere. But let me just focus on this Karen for a minute. She would have never made it during the home run race in '98 with McGuire and Sosa. If you saw the home runs that they hit into the stands at those games, it was an all-out frenzy. It's the unspoken rule of what I grew up watching the MLB and going to the games. The unspoken rule is that when it comes to a home run ball, you've got to hold it all the way before, and then whoever holds it last, that's their ball. It's not on the field, in between the two foul poles, they can't drop a ball because it hit them in their glove on the ground, pick it back up and say, "Oh, that's mine. I meant to catch it. That's an out." No, it's not how that works. So this backlash that she's receiving is, warranted in my opinion, because how do you feel that entitled to go take it from that kid? In the first sense, and as Brandon mentioned, shout out to the Marlins and the Phillies and Bader for doing right by the young man and his family. But I think the social media backlash for this is kind of warranted. But in that sense, we all need to make sure that we're going after the right people. I did see that there was a story that there was a teacher that was wrongly accused of being the Phillies Karen. I don't know if it's come out yet. I've kind of gone off from the story now, but hey, we're going to talk about it because it's one of those things that occupied our life for about 24, 48 hours, something like that.
Yeah, you're right. And again, shout out to both organizations. They made it right, and this kid definitely, unfortunately, had the worst experience with her, but the best experience overall for his birthday. Shout out to him. All right, so Matt, I'm going to go to you on this one next. Ryan Clark, we know who Ryan Clark is. And if you don't know who Ryan Clark is, folks, you're living under a rock. He has been making headlines as of late for the wrong reasons. First, he did say Brady, Manning, and Aaron Rodgers weren't generational talents. Then gets into a heated exchange on the air. He did get disciplined by ESPN. They didn't really tell us more or less the disciplinary actions. But, Matt, I'm going to ask you, does this make the case that it isn't always good to hire former athletes for sports talk shows just because they played sports?
Well, no, we can't say that because Ryan Clark has he has a very extensive background when it comes to actually podcasting or analysis, in-depth analysis on different shows. He has history. He's been doing it for a long time. He has a great podcast out with other retired NFL players. He has a voice and he has a platform. Hey guys, sometimes things happen, man. Sometimes people just don't agree with things, and that's just what happened. Yeah, two people who disagreed, and things just happen. As far as the generational talent thing, I mean, you have to look at it like this. I think Peyton Manning was a generational talent. A generational talent is somebody who comes in like a LeBron James. LeBron James is a generational talent. Shaq is a generational talent. When you go to football, you look at people like, let's say, Myles Garrett. That's a generational talent. People who are like, wow, that. I agree when he says Tom Brady isn't a generational talent, because I don't think Tom Brady was a generational talent. He was picked 199th in the draft.
Yeah, but look what he did, though. And he was picked so late, but look what he did. He's touted as the greatest of all time.
He outworked everybody else. He outworked everybody else. Tom Brady was never had the strongest arm, was never the fastest, was never the smartest
Definitely not the fleet-footed.
at the time. He was never a top anything, even while playing. Drew Brees, Peyton Manning always had more yards. They always threw more yards than him. You have generational talents, but then you have people with generational work ethic that worked harder than others, which is what Tom Brady did. So I can see I could kind of hint where he was going. Again, generational talent is somebody who comes out and you're like, wow, just wows you from the jump. But I don't think he should be. I don't think he should be the example of this is why we don't give ex-NFL players platforms. Because he has done more good than bad.
And look, we know RG3 has been very well documented for his controversial remarks that he makes, and we know that kind of thing. But Shane, let me ask you this: Ryan Clark did say that Peyton Manning wasn't a generational. Do you agree with him, or do you think Peyton Manning was a generational? Because I still feel if Peyton Manning were to go to college right now and take over an entire winless team, I think he could turn that program around instantly because he's so smart, football savvy.
Yeah, well, I think that the three names that were mentioned with Brady, Manning, and Rodgers, as far as NFL talents being generational, they were. I'm kind of on the side with Matt here. Brady was never really that number one kind of guy. So that's what I kind of look at too. When you think generational type, you look Michael Vick, Lamar Jackson. You see those players like that, Jamar Chase nowadays. So you kind of you see those, but when it comes back to kind of the former professional athletes and stuff, being that voice and on that platform and everything else, I think they do a great job because they really have seen a part of the game that only 0.3% of the population can even say that they even saw or was able to play and experience on their own. So there's I guess with the podcast world, as we're sitting here on the podcast talking, how it's taken off, and especially with former players and them getting together, ESPN's made it a point here in the past couple of weeks to bring some of these podcast groups on their shows and to kind of broaden their spectrum of what they're talking about. So, I think that it's great, but then also the podcast side kind of hurts the, national television stage, be it just because, on a podcast, you're able to kind of talk and say what you want willy-nilly kind of deal. When it comes to TV and other kind of platforms, you still have sponsors and, people that you've got to answer to in the content that you're putting out other than yourself and the sponsors that you kind of pick from your, for your podcast. So, I think that's kind of where the hurt comes in, as far as them commentating and being great, sports analysis kind of people for major networks. But, I wouldn't say, let's stop it right now because we've got two people that wanted to go at it. I mean, we saw just this past year an athlete and a sports anchor go at it. So, you can't be surprised, with everybody having a phone and a camera and being an individual journalist, as they all like to say in these, videos and stuff like that. And you're going to see more of it. It's just going to be drama filled because everything's right there at the tip of the finger now. We don't have to wait till tomorrow's paper to read something. Now you can see it and get your reaction known out there straight away. And I don't think that it's good to be like that sometimes, but then it's the world that we live in.
You hit the nail on the head, absolutely. Hey, real quick before I go to Shane's sports story, shout out to Ryan Howard of the Atlanta Dream. She tied her record for the second time this year for hitting 9 3-pointers in one game. She is the first player to do it. She did it back on June 13th against the Chicago Sky. Now the Dream, they are awarded the number 2 seed in the playoffs if they win the last game of the season. They are a game and a half up on the Las Vegas Aces. Excuse me, not a game, but they're half a game up on the Las Vegas Aces. But if Atlanta wins, they get it no matter what. They get the number 2 seed. And also to let you guys know that if the Dream win the last game of the year, they will finish 30-14. They're the only second team ever in WNBA history. The first is the Minnesota Lynx, who have already clinched the number 1 overall. But congratulations goes out to both teams in general. Hopefully, we had Bob Rathman on, and he did say he didn't think that the Dream were quite there yet, but they're close. I don't know, Matt. I think they have a chance to actually maybe even win the WNBA finals. Just saying. Shane, you have a sports story. I want to hear your sports story. I'm going to throw it to you.
Oh yeah, well, as I talked about it earlier tonight, this weekend we've got some buddies of mine coming up, and we're going to go, out to the race this weekend at Bristol. Man, it's the last race of this round of the playoffs. Man, you've got 4 drivers that are, on the outside looking in right now. Josh Berry, SVG, Austin Dillon, and Alex Bowman. But this is by far, other than the 2 guys that have won already to advance to the next round, there are only really 2 drivers that are kind of safely in on points right now. So, we could see a big swing and some big name drivers not make it. But, if anybody wants to watch the race Saturday, we'll be just past the start-finish line about row 27. Probably have an Earnhardt shirt on and a cold beverage in my hand, kind of yelling loudly.
Just a little, right? Just a
smidge.
That's right. Real quick before we go to Matt, I know you want to talk. You had some banter. You wanted to correct me on the WNBA. Please, I want to hear this, sir.
Oh yeah, well you changed up your question to where you said Atlanta would win the East, but there's not necessarily an East and a West in the WNBA playoffs. So
they are number 1 seed though in the East.
Conference. They're the number 1 seed that plays in the Eastern Conference. They're still only the number 2 seed when it comes down to it. But that was going to be my banter. Oh. So you changed up your question. So that's that's kudos to you for correcting your mistake there.
Yeah. All right, Matt. I know you have a little sports story, but then we'll go to our honorable mentions. Matt, go ahead.
Just kind of wanted to touch base on week 1 of the NFL, man. Guys, football's back. My sports story pretty much is just on, just the feeling that we have when, we have college football on Saturday and then we transition to the NFL on Sunday. It's a feeling that, we've missed for a long amount of months. It's a feeling that, that has us feeling like giddy schoolgirls. It's just one of those things, man. I just kind of want to give a shout out and to the sport of football, man. That's all.
All right, I like it. I absolutely like it. Real quick, honorable mention time. Our guy Brian Pettit of Tiger Stripes Media says my honorable mention goes to Connor Zilich in NASCAR for his 4th win in a row in the Xfinity Series last weekend. That's a pretty good one. My first one, Matt, and this one actually kind of it sucks because of what happened to him. Oklahoma City Thunder's rookie Thomas Sober tore his ACL. He's going to miss the entire season. Matt, how detrimental is this to the Oklahoma City Thunder?
It's bad because he was going to provide depth for them. They needed big man depth a little bit. So will it really affect them as far as, in the long run? No, he'll learn from it. He'll get stronger. He'll come back. He'll bounce back. Was a solid player in college. Nothing out of the ordinary, but was a solid player in college. It was going to come in and contribute right away. So, alters their plans a bit, but they'll have free agents wanting to sign with them to try to get a ring.
Shane, what's your honorable mention, sir?
I'm going to shout out the Seattle Mariners and Mr. Cal Raleigh again. Seattle Mariners took
The
it
big
to,
dumper.
Took it to the Braves on Sunday. What was it? 18-5, 18-3, something like that.
19-3.
Yeah. So, but shout out to the big dumper. He hit number 53 on the year. Only a couple more games to go, so we'll see if he can get that. Of course, he's already got the catcher record, but the overall Seattle record. And then I want to shout out the Mariners as a whole for scoring more runs in a professional baseball game than 12 NFL teams did on Sunday.
That is that's a sickening statistic. Oh my God! Like, wow.
Yes. 12 teams in the NFL scored 17 points or less this past Sunday.
Ouch. Matt, what's your honorable mention?
My first honorable mention, man, is going to go to San Francisco 49ers safety Marquise, however you want to pronounce it, Sigle. He's a 5th-round pick that they drafted this year. And he played – what stands out is he played every defensive snap. Total about 6 tackles and had a big fumble recovery. So first honorable mention goes to the 5th-round pick, Marquise Sigle.
I love it. I absolutely love it. And also, unfortunately, the Niners are in the news 2 times.
Mm-hmm.
George Kittle is on the IR, and then the kicker was cut, and he subsequently retired. He announced his retirement from the game today. So yes, the Niners are definitely in the news. But my next honorable mention is definitely going out to both the Phillies and the Marlins. Why? Because they awarded the little boy who got the ball taken from him, like we mentioned earlier, they awarded him with the prize pack. He got a signed baseball bat from Bader. Also, got tickets to any game he wants to, basically. So shout out to both of them.
Somebody else threw in tickets one game to the World Series this year.
Yeah, that's right.
Family.
This little boy. That's the shout out literally to the organization and even the fans just in general, like except for that one lady. Shout out though definitely goes to the Phillies and the Marlins for making it right as they should. This little boy is 10 years old. He's at a ball game with his dad, and the lady kind of ruined that experience, but he got it made up from. Shout out to them. All right, Shane, what's your next honorable mention, sir?
Well, I'm going to stay in the state of Pennsylvania here since we're talking about a Phillies fan. I'm going to go to the other side of the state though. And, shout out to Penn State and Adidas. Penn State is supposedly, after a vote with their board of trustees, going to leave their 32-year Nike deal and switch over to Adidas next year for all sports. So, it's we kind of stay up on uniform news and stuff like that, as many well know. So, I thought it was pretty cool, pretty different, but pretty cool to see, somebody else getting a name, get into a school that's been with Nike for so long.
Yeah, you're right. They really have been. Man, that's a long time. Matt, what is your next honorable mention, sir?
Believe it or not, my next honorable mention is going to go to the Cleveland Browns. It looks like they may have gotten it right finally with their draft. They had a few rookies, man, who had kind of some breakout games. They had a tight end, Harold Fannin Jr., who matched an NFL rookie record with 7 receptions. One of their running backs, Dylan Sampson, he had 93 total yards with 8 catches, which is rare for a rookie running back. And they have 2 defensive rookies on Mason Graham and Carson Schwessinger, I believe is his name. They delivered standout performances, and they both earned spots on Pro Football Focus's Week 1 rookie team. So shout out to the Cleveland Browns for once.
I had a different one I was going to do, but I'm switching it up. Shout out though to this is going to be a bunch together, to Alabama, Ohio State, Nebraska, Minnesota, Penn State, and Coastal Carolina for 50 points. Can anybody guess why they're getting a shout out? Because Out of all of them, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, all 6 of them pitched shutouts. And all 6 of them, well, actually 5 out of the 6 beat the absolute snot out of their opponents. Alabama won 73-0 against Louisiana Monroe. Grambling State had to play the gauntlet in Ohio State, and they lost 70-0. Nebraska had to play, I believe it's Appalachian State, if I'm not mistaken. Matt, correct me if I'm wrong. Nebraska won 68-0. Minnesota won. I don't even know who this is, but Minnesota won 66. I believe that's Northwestern State. They beat them 66-0. And then Penn State beat Idaho. Is it Idaho State? Just remind me who it is. But Penn State won 34-0, and Coastal Carolina won 13-0. So shout out to those 6 schools for absolutely blanketing their opponents. Shane, what's your next honorable mention, sir?
Well, I'm going to keep it here on the football side of things, but I'm going to give a shout out to the hometown team here, Brevard Blue Devils, 2-0 right now. Just beat 2 big schools in Irwin and AC Reynolds to start off the year. Only one of 6 mountain schools still left undefeated on the year, so shout out to them. They've got a good team. We went and caught the last half of the first game that they played a couple weeks ago, so they look pretty good. And also want to shout out, fellow class of 2007 alumni, Nick Dixon there in Chesterfield. They're sitting there at 2-1 right now. Last couple of wins have been pretty big for the program, so it's good to see him at our alma mater, kind of changing the culture around there after a couple of off years.
I like it. Matt, what's your next honorable mention, sir?
Oh man, I'm gonna keep it 3 for 3 with football, man. I'm gonna give an honorable mention to JJ McCarthy. As you guys know, he was a first round draft pick last year. Got hurt, ended up sitting out the whole season. Came back yesterday on Monday Night Football, man. Had 2 touchdowns, rushed for another touchdown. Vikings were down 17-6, man, and then all of a sudden, JJ just kind of did his thing, man, and they came back and won the game. So shout out to JJ McCarthy, man. I hope he keeps it up.
My next one, I have a couple, is I'm going to give a shout out to Missouri State getting their first ever win against an FBS team and the first ever win as an FBS team. They beat Marshall 21-0. And then also got to give a shout out, Matt, as you know, I got to give a shout out to my University of Hawaii, my Rainbow Warriors. Luke Weaver came in because Micah Alejado was injured. He still is injured. He might actually play against Portland State. Not sure yet. But they beat Sam Houston, avenged a 13-point loss last year. They won 37-20. Big one. And then also the last one that I'm going to give my last honorable mention, University of South Florida, y'all. They came to absolutely rule the roost. Week 1, they beat Boise State 34-7. Week 2, they go and they take on Florida and they win 18-6. And then of course they get stuck with having to play number 5 Miami. Oof, that's gonna be a gauntlet right there. If they do it, that I definitely think they should be in the top 5. That's just my feeling on that one. Shane, what is your last honorable mention if you have any more, sir?
I want to give a shout out to the city of Denver and the Denver Broncos. They just proposed a new $50-something billion retractable roof stadium. Me and Brandon were talking earlier before we came on, man. I think that's the way that everybody's going to go. Because now if everybody goes that way, then every city could possibly get a Super Bowl at some point. So, that'd be great to see, especially up there in Denver. They have a pretty decent following for being that high up there. And it'd be pretty interesting to see if the city accepts the bid and all, because, there's not just private money going into it. There's got to be some public money too.
Yes.
Have you guys ever been in Denver before, man? Have you played any kind of sports or ran in Denver before? Man, it's tough. I just jogged like one time, like up some stairs, man, and I was out. I was out, man. So yeah, it's different. It's different.
Yeah,
This
I've played in some elevation before, and it gets you, especially like in the summer months.
Yes.
You know, it seems like it gets you more. You get up there, that thin air, and then all of a sudden you start coming back down, and you get in all that you really feel humidity once you get out of that air.
Oh yeah. I unfortunately I can't go around high altitudes just because of the heart condition. But I have played in some high altitudes. You know, I've been in high altitudes, and it takes a toll on you. Hey, real quick, Packers signed Christian Watson to a 1-year, $13.25 million extension, according to O'Brien Bennett. I got to give this mention out to Kiloho High School versus Kamiki. And I'm just going to show everybody. This is the score. This is real. This was last week, and unfortunately, they have to take on the number 1 team in the state of Hawaii, Farrington. But let me get it here. Look at this score, y'all. This is a real score in high school football. Can anybody see what that score says? That team right there won 93-0.
They should have called the game.
About to say, at what point do you just wave the white flag and just
50-0?
50-0,
you call it.
I mean,
there's a small school in Minnesota that just shut down because they were getting beat like I think it was 63-0 at halftime in an 8-on-8. They quit, and then after the game this week they called off and forfeited the season due to the player safety concerns.
Yeah. Hey, real quick, breaking news. This is literally breaking news as we're on here. Atlanta and Houston have been officially awarded an NHL expansion franchise. This is according to Bleacher Report and thescore.com. Details are still coming in. The NHL has met with all owners, and it passed overwhelming support. By the way, also, got to give a shout out to the Utah Grizzlies. They are leaving. The ECHL franchise is leaving Utah. They're going to Trenton, New Jersey. They start their new season in Trenton next year. So Trenton now has a second professional hockey team. Now that we know Atlanta and Houston have been awarded, guys, I mean, come on. Matt, you have to agree. You have to believe now that Augusta's team is Atlanta's. And then I think New Mexico is going to follow in the footsteps, and they're going to be Trenton. And New Mexico is going to maybe, I would say, Houston's team. Trenton will still stay their affiliate, but how cool is it to know that Trenton's getting another team, Matt?
Oh man, that's somebody who was born in the Garden State and is from the Garden State, and people don't really know that's where the Giants and Jets actually play in New Jersey.
The Meadowlands.
Yeah. You know, I think it's good, man. A very, very sports rich state, if that makes any sense. Hockey, very, very popular up there, man. Of course, because you know the weather and all the ice ponds and ice lakes and the ice rinks and all that stuff, man. So hockey's big up there, man. And you know, hopefully this will make it bigger, give them a more mainstream look, man. Having 2 teams in the same state, which is the smallest state out there.
And we are trying to get actually the smallest state is Rhode Island, according to
you know what I mean. In the NHL, is there a Rhode Island team in the NHL?
You know. So I will tell you this. We are still going to get more information. We're trying to get the Utah Grizzlies to come on. They have been communicating back and forth with me. So there's a real possibility. And then also we are very close to booking at Arizona Christian University on their NAIA football team. So just want to let you guys know. Guys, we've had a fantastic episode. Had so much fun. We had Mr. Invincible himself, who has already told us we're invincible. Vince Papale came on. Which, by the way, guys, come on. Can I get an amen? That was pretty darn cool to have someone at his statue. Come on, right?
Yeah, pretty neat.
Oh, yeah.
So, but with everybody who timed in, everybody who watched, we really appreciate it. But, Matt, what do you tell everybody?
Yeah, guys, it's going to be a big weekend. Don't get flagged in the game of life. Just follow the rules. If you're going to drink, stay home. You know, don't do anything crazy. Don't get flagged.
Yeah, don't get flagged. Don't get the whoop whoops behind you.
Whoop, whoop.
Shane, before I get you your final goodbye, we'll let everybody know again. We will be tomorrow, 7:30, episode 3 of Money Lines. There will not be an episode this Friday. It is my wife and mine's anniversary. Shane, what do you tell everybody?
Ooh.
Oh yeah, well, as always, man, it's been a blessing to be on here with everybody, especially with Vince coming on. May the good Lord bless you, and peace, love, and bacon grease.
Peace, love, and bacon grease indeed. And by the way, shout out to the fact that we have 2,780 subscribers officially on YouTube. Thank you guys so much.
3,000 coming soon.
Yep. The 3,000 knocking on the door. Guys, thank you so much for everything that you guys did. Thank you so much for everybody who contributed tonight. Greatly appreciate it. We'll see you tomorrow, 7:30 for Money Lines, episode 3. You guys have a wonderful evening, and we'll see you tomorrow, and enjoy this lovely outro. Good night.